So here are a few ways that Ms. Carter can intervene for impact. Here are a few tactics and scripts that she could use to directly address Mr. Johnson. So the first thing that she could do is to bring the micro or the macroaggression to the forefront of awareness. Now, for me, I feel like his actions is actually a macroaggression because his curricular decisions are influencing what curriculum students experience and what voices they learn. So I feel like that has a huge impact on their overall learning. But that's my bias. But one of the things that Ms. Carter shared was here. This is what happens when we focus on only traditional scientists in our curriculum. This is the impact. That may not be your intention, but this is the impact of your thinking in your actions. So the next thing that she can do is reassure the targets that their experiences are valid and that they're not crazy. So she can name it. This is hurtful. It's exclusionary. And by excluding non-European scientists, we're making a direct statement to our community about who is worthy of study. And she can directly name what is happening and name the harm, even if it's having a conversation with her peers about her not agreeing. So being able to explicitly name the harm and reassure people like, no, I'm offended by this too. Like, it hurts us all when we exclude certain cultures. The next is forcing consideration of impact and meaning. She can directly tell Mr. Johnson, you know what? You're sending a message. You're sending a message. It's important we consider how this can be perceived by our students and other staff members, right? So we can help them make the direct correlation between the intention versus the impact, and how the impact is where we are working from. And then the final is addressing what was not said or not done. So she can name that this is a pattern of behavior, that when they look back at their overall curricular choices, that this isn't just a one-off, that it's a pattern of behavior that's rooted in a hidden bias that is having a negative effect not on just the people in that staff meeting, but on students coming year after year after year. So there are multiple things that Ms. Carter can do to help directly address the microaggression. All right, so let's go to our next case. So here we have Miss Johnson and Anaya. So we're going to explore another real world scenario that Dr. Sewell experienced during his research about a librarian who overhears a discussion amongst a group of students working in the library. So take a minute to read the scenario. All right, so we know our first step in addressing microaggressions is to unpack the meta communication. What is the hidden message? So by naming the hidden message, she can directly figure out which tactic would be the appropriate one to use for intervention. So let's think about it. What is the underlying message that's being conveyed by Marcus's statement? And how could the absence of intervention from Ms. Johnson impact both Marcus, Anaya, their peers, and the overall climate in the school if this is something that's allowed to persist? So take a minute, jot it down in your journal, and let's think about it. What's the impact of non-action? Okay, so since we don't live in a space of non-action, we are learning skills and tactics. We're going to think about what are some things that Ms. Johnson can do to intervene for impact. So these are some tactics and the line script that she can use. So first, again, bring it to the forefront of the person's awareness, right? We're not going to be confused about what we're doing and what we're saying. So she can tell Marcus, wait a minute, I heard about that comment about Anaya's coding skills because she's Indian. These are reinforcing stereotypes, and that's not what we do here. That's not what we do in the school community. And then speaking to the students, and by laughing, these jokes, it can be just as hurtful to Anaya. So let's think about these things. Why it's not okay to do that, right? There, she can explicitly name the harm. So the next one is to engage in a one-on-one dialogue with the perpetrator to indicate how or why what they said is offensive to you or others. So she could pull Marcus on the side and speak to him directly, depending on the situation. But she still explicitly named the harm, named the hidden message, and push the perpetrator to think about their actions. All right? So she could facilitate a possibly more enlightening conversation about exploration of the perpetrator's biases. So let's talk about, why was that even necessary? Why was that a necessary comment? And does it reflect a deeper assumption about people from different backgrounds? So let's think about why you are thinking the way you think. And then the final tactic for this particular micro-intervention is to encourage the perpetrator to explore the origins of their beliefs and attitudes towards the targeted person. So Marcus, let's consider where those beliefs that you just shared came from. Like, who benefits from those beliefs and who is harmed by it? And then what's shaped your views of this, and how can that be harmful in other ways? Particularly when you have students who are leveraging these microaggressions against their peers, it's really important to help them unpack the origins of these beliefs and have them think about how they've experienced those pieces of alienation or marginalization.